On this week's weekly video fishing forecast, we are reporting from Capt Bait and Tackle at Capt State Park, but I will have the details on this weekend's Snapper Derby. We are in the height of fluke season, and I will have some light tackle tips and our correspondents check in with the latest fishing information, all here at thefisherman.com.
The fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
Today is Thursday, August 18th, and the digital edition is available online now. Anchoring when targeting sea bass is essential, and we have some great tips in an article by Captain Tom Michalowski. Killies are a great live bait for fluke, and Jeff Merrill has the great read on keeping these baits happy. All this and much more in the current digital edition of the Fisherman magazine. Remember, $29.95 gets you 12 glossy print issues and all the weekly digital content and full access to the website too. And best of all, you can compete in our Dreamboat contest and Coastal Kayak Clash. There's a good fluke bite going on in the back bays, and here's some light tackle tips when targeting these fish. During the summer months on Long Island, we get a pretty solid fluke bite on light tackle. Moriches, Shinnecock, Fire Island, all these bays, they have good fishing, and I like to keep the tackle as light as possible to have as much fun as possible. Light tackle starts at your rod and reel and your line. Without that, your tackle, it can't be light if it's not light. So I'm using a 7-foot St. Croix rod paired with a 1000 size Shimano reel, and I'm using 8-pound Berkeley X9 braid in white. It's high vis. I'm using a 3/4 ounce bucktail. Pretty light stuff, gets down pretty quick, and I have a lot of fun with it as well. Most of my light tackle fishing consists of a bucktail with a teaser about 1.5 feet up. It's a high-low rig. For the teaser, I'm using a Gamakatsu bait holder hook with a grub. On the bucktail, I have another grub, and connecting my rig to my main line is a uni to uni knot. Typically during the summer months, I like to focus on the end of the incoming tide and the beginning of the outgoing tide. That's usually the clean ocean water coming in and the end of that ocean water going out. It's the coolest water. It's the water that makes the fish most active this time of the year. When searching for good bottom to fluke fish on, I like to look for bottom that kind of goes up and down and up and down. The reason why is the flukes sit on those drop-offs, and when it's coming up again, and they ambush bait fish as they go over those drop-offs. You can almost see this kind of bottom on the top of the water by the boils and the eddies, and that identifies what it's like under the water. So my technique for this kind of fishing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let my line out, and I like to use a high vis line to make sure I can watch the line as it hits the bottom. So I'm going down right now, and I just watched the line bow out. That means that I'm on the bottom now. Once it hits the bottom, I don't flip the bail over. I like to fish with an open bail for fluke, and the reason why is because if I get a hit, I'll let some line out, and then I'll get the bail tight, and I'll set the hook on that fish, then flip the bail over. A big reason for this is because flukes sometimes like to play around with the bait. They don't always hit it right away. They chase it. So if you let the fish have it a little bit more, if your boat is drifting, it gives it more time for that fish to consume that bait, and then you set the hook and you get a more sure hook set. Ooh, nice fish. Very nice fish. Swing it ready. One of my favorite kinds of fishing is light tackle fluke fishing. It's something you can go out and do for a couple hours. You don't have to spend a lot of time doing it. If you time your tides right, you can really have a lot of fun with it. I have a lot of fun with it myself. If you scale down your tackle to the appropriate size of the fish sometimes as well, it makes it also a lot more fun. Nothing like catching fish on light tackle. Let's get the latest on the Dreamboat and Coastal Kayak Clash contest.
Here's the update for the Dreamboat contest. Dan Mancini of Long Branch, New Jersey, weighed in a 13-pound fluke at the Fisherman's Den with his first entry of the season, landing him currently in second place in the fluke division. But the real drama happened when another New Jersey angler, John Woodruff of Kinnelon, weighed in this 4.4-pound sea bass, pushing the current total point place holder Dean Paella down by 1 point to 18 points to tie Rob Carazano. Since the tiebreaker is based on the largest fish entered, Dean Caffeine's 8.7-pound weakfish beats Rob's 7.83-pound weakfish. So here's the current standings as of August 18th. The Dreamboat Fishing Challenge is the Fisherman's subscriber-only multi-species fishing competition with a chance to win a new Steiger Craft 23 Miami powered by Yamaha, along with many other great prizes. Visit thefisherman.com to subscribe and get all the details so you can be part of the action.
Hey everybody, it's Dave Anderson. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what's going on in the Costa Kayak class this week. We had one fish hit the leaderboard. That was a 22-inch blackfish landed by Bob Gross, which was good enough for third place in the blackfish category. The top three remains unchanged. Justin Oster is leading the world with 11 points, and there's a log jam of other anglers with 3 points apiece. But with the fall run on the way, this thing should only get more exciting, and there's plenty of time left to swoop in and steal the win.
This Saturday and Sunday is the Capt State Park Snapper and Crab Derby. Age categories are 7 years and younger, 8 to 12 years old, and 13 to 16. Fishing starts at 10 a.m. both days. Registration is required. For more information, call Capt Bait and Tackle at 631-587-3430. Now let's go around the map and I'll tell you what I've been hearing. To the west, the ocean side had the edge over the inside again. Fluke fishing around the local reefs yielded a few keepers, from most boats trying. The other big news to the west end is the steady bite of cobia again during the week. Fish to 35 pounds were reported on the bunker pods. Along the central South Shore bays, fluke fishing in Fire Island, Moriches, and Shinnecock stayed strong, and I did hear the top of the flood tide was the best to fish around. The reefs on the outside of the inlets had some fluke too, while the structure itself produced porgies and sea bass. I personally caught some green bonita outside of Moriches over the weekend also. Crabs, snappers, and blowfish are also starting making a solid appearance on the docks scattered along the South Shore. Up on the north shore of the island, striped bass fishing remains excellent during the early mornings and evening hours from Little Neck Bay to the Race and east of Orient Point. Fluke fishing has been great also from Execution Rock to Shinnecock Point as well. Fluke fishing has also been very good at Kenny's and Truman beaches in the town of Southold. Bluefish are mainly everywhere, while weakfish remain solid inside Peconic Bay from Nassau Point to Greenport. I also heard of some Spanish mackerel being caught on the North Fork of the island as well. In Montauk, south of the windmills, Cartwright and Frisbees all had good fluke fishing, with limits being taken if you worked for it. And there's a fair number of larger fish in the mix too. Offshore, the dumps south of Block, Cox's Ledge were all good spots to try for tuna. Looks like we have a flat weekend coming up, so it might be a great opportunity to make a pelagic run. News 12, meteorologist Rich Van Ohlen has the weekend weather outlook. Rich.
All right, thanks, Matt. Let's check that weekend forecast and see what we got going on. You can always check your favorite apps, websites, weather tools, whatever you got. This is a general heads-up, general overview on the upcoming weekend. So we're going to start things out with the water temps. Still fairly warm, lots of 70s to mid-70s across the Sound, Raritan Bay. Wave heights Saturday, not bad. 2 to 4 foot, not too terrible. Southwest breeze coming in. The models are trying to form this ocean low here sometime late Saturday night and Sunday morning. It's not very close to shore, but still could generate some 4 to 8s, 8s to 12s offshore, and maybe some swells, rollers coming in by Sunday morning. So just be safe, be careful around the inlets, especially towards low tide. Could be a little bit rough there. The surf could be a little riled up a bit. Futurecast Saturday, the winds are generally light from the southwest, figure 5 to 10, 5 to 15. That offshore low skirts to the east of us, and the winds actually get fairly calm for Sunday, but again, just watch for some of the rollers coming in. The ocean could be a little bit lumpy, but overall the weekend doesn't look too terrible. Here's the high tides for the North Shore about early morning, South Shore for the early afternoon. High temps 70s and 80s on Saturday, same kind of deal for Sunday. Check out the Guru quickly and see what we got going on here. And you see Saturday, the winds aren't bad. We've got more of a southwest breeze, about 5 to 15, a little chop in the afternoon. Hardly any breeze early Sunday morning, but you get some waves that pick up maybe up to 3 to 4 feet with some of those rollers coming in. But overall, not a bad weekend. I think still very fishable. It's going to be okay. Enjoy, catch 'em up. Matt, back to you.
It's time for our correspondents to check in. Let's start off with Captain Timothy O'Rourke from Montauk.
Thank you, Matt. Well, greetings, everybody. Kind of been off the radar here for the last couple weeks, but I'm back now. Fishing is still incredibly hot, and everything's kind of coming together now with some late summer season action. Still plenty of striped bass around. I had a good trip with my son Pierce last week. Last Friday night, we did really well. Fish over 45 inches. Caught a bunch of fish everywhere. Live eels, top water stuff, fly. Smallest fish we had was 37 inches, so that's still good. Still plenty of big bluefish around. Fluke and sea bass still strong. Catching them on the south side. A bunch of guys either under the radar tower or down the beach. Usual places, frisbees and all that. Tuna fishing offshore has really started to heat up. Everything's going good. I got a couple different reports. One guy showed me a picture of a swordfish that was caught. Little Steven Forsberg on the 5-star. He pretty much had the best tuna trip he's had, and some really good tile fishing as well. Some mixed reports of some codfish being caught actually out there too. So plenty of options, plenty of opportunity. Still getting some nice weather here for the end of the summer, so get out while you can and catch them up.
From Sag Harbor, we have Will and Andy.
All right, thanks, Matt. So report out of Sag Harbor this week. We have some pretty solid sea bass fishing, porgy fishing a little bit further east, Gardiner's Island and near Montauk. The fluking's kind of slowed down a bit, not so great, but bluefish are still there, so still get a bet in that rod. We also still have threshers near shore, which has been good, as well as cobia, which has remained strong and unusual for our area, so definitely get out there and try to get those. So we'll catch you next week. Back to you, Matt.
From Shinnecock, let's check in with Mike Dean.
Thanks, Matt. Hey, everyone. Inshore fishing in between Shinnecock and Moriches is pretty much the same that it's been. Fluke bite, sea bass bite is still there. You have to get through a lot of shorts and sea robins to get at the keepers put in the box, but they are there on, for the most part, Hampton Reef is the one that I've been getting reports on, but, the other, wrecks around the area are holding fish as well. Striped bass, been a couple of random fish, surf casting that is, not caught by me, but just, close to the inlets, kind of taking advantage of that cooler ocean water at incoming. Seems to be, the bite both on the bay side and ocean side. Nothing crazy, a lot of hours for a good bite, and a lot of guys working hard to get that are very good fishermen. So there's that. I've heard of some cocktail blues, snappers, which is great kind of afternoon family fishing type of thing. Bring the kids, also good to have some nice fluke bait. That's been going on back in the bays. I know basically all over the place. So in terms of the offshore, Hampton's Offshore Invitational is going on this week, benefiting Long Island Big Brothers, Big Sisters. And Sunday, I know there were about, I think there were 3 or 4, mid 60-pound range yellowfins that were weighed in. Throughout the week, there's been some big eyes caught. I know Steve Fernandez caught a huge Allison, like fish of a lifetime, only to have a 10-foot hammerhead follow to the boat and take a big chunk out of it. So that tournament goes on until Sunday. They're also raffling off a 23-foot Parker Center console, $100 raffle ticket, tax deductible. You can call Whitewater in Hampton Bays or Sayville to grab those tickets for that. And so that's interesting. A lot of other people went out, did okay with the yellowfin over the weekend. Nothing like too crazy. But there's been steady catches, so that bite that was hot kind of faded off. Seems like it might be coming back, and just get out there and fish them up. All right, enjoy the weekend. Let us know how you do.
Dylan Jewell has the Moriches report for us. Dylan.
Thanks, Matt. Hey, Long Island. Hope everyone's had a chance to get out. The surf bite has been okay. Definitely a grind, but there are some nice fish out there. I had fish the other day to maybe around 30 pounds. Lots of schoolies mixed in as also, some slot-sized fish. Tons of bluefish still around. Montauk's just loaded with them. Triggerfish, tons of triggerfish around in the inlets, any type of rock piles, anything. There's definitely no shortage of them. Yellowfin, bunch of yellowfin around. Guess depending on where you're going, some days bite's really good. Guys go back the next day, not so good. Fish not there, they move. Been a lot of inconsistencies with that, just from the guys that I've spoke with. Still cobia on the bunker pods. Sharks, loaded up on the bunker pods. Just got to try to weed through them, try to find the cobia. Bait, there's so much bait around the inlets that I've seen. Peanut bunker, rain bait, adult bunker, it's just everywhere. Back in the creeks, mullet. So these cooler nights, hopefully, kind of stays like this, get those resident fish a little more active and, start preparing for the fall run. So that's what I got for you guys this week. Hope everyone gets out, catches them up. Back to you, Matt.
Mark McCowan from Cal Harbor Bait and Tackle checks in up in Northport.
Hey guys, Phil from Cal Harbor here, filling in for Mark this week. Just wanted to tell you about all the fun stuff happening in August so far. There's snappers everywhere. So if you're bringing out your kids after work before they go into school, it seems like there's snappers all over the place in the back of the harbor. They're about that big right now. So they're going to start growing up pretty quick in the next couple weeks. Go to the docks, go to the beaches, whatever. Porgies as well. You could get porgies off the docks and the beaches. Seems like the boat guys are getting them too. Getting all sorts of people in after work, just looking to go and have fun. If you are on the boat, make sure you bring your chum with you. The water's around 80 degrees right now, so you're going to go through about a chum log an hour. So make sure you've got all your clams, sandworms, chum, whatever it is you need to make it happen. Bluefish out in the middle of the sound, mostly in the triangle, jigging in the afternoon. Trolling, make sure you've got your wind and your tide right. You don't want to end up out there and all of a sudden it's wind against tide. You want to have a good time. You want to have fun after work, all right? Seems like there's a lot of smaller fluke on the insides of the harbor if you're just looking to take out your family for a little while after work. They're all eating the little spearings all over the place right now. It seems like there's millions of them all over the place. Everyone's telling me. If the birds start diving, that means there's cocktail bluefish. So make sure you got some spinning rods ready to go. Seems like peanut bunker and spearing all over the place in the harbor. So I think it's going to equal a pretty nice fall run later on with the schoolie bass and the bluefish. Hopefully the big blues show up this year. Speaking of bluefish, we have the WICC the 27th and the 28th of August. We've got all our registration stuff here. I've got t-shirts if you want to make a bait order ahead of time. Probably good thinking. Everyone who's still going after the stripers, chunking out in the sound, still getting them pretty good, up to about 30 pounds, believe it or not. It's kind of late in the year, but they are still around. So get your fresh bunker, get out there on a good tide, early morning, evening, night, whatever you can make it happen. It's August. Doesn't have to be boring. Go out, have fun, bring your family, friends, whatever you can do, and bring a couple drinks because it's hot out there. And until next time, we bid you peace and tight lines.
From the Fire Island area in Great South Bay, let's check in with Captain Lorenzetti.
Hey Matt, Fire Island report. Things are looking good. The weather for this weekend looks like it's going to be excellent. Fishing is good. The inshore bottom fishing is great. I went out with my grandson, my son, and his wife the other day for 2-3 hours up in the State Channel. We had big kingfish. We had over a dozen large kingfish, and I'll tell you, it made up for a great fish fry. And then fluke fishing is still solid. Inside from the inlet to the Moses Bridge and the reefs, the Fire Island and Hempstead Reef, good catches of fluke and some sea bass, but you know, you have to be right on the pieces, so be prepared to lose a bunch of rigs and a bunch of leads, so make sure you have plenty when you go out there. And first report, some weak fish starting to show up again down by Ocean Beach. A friend of mine had a few of them, keepers, but on the small side, 2-3 pounds. And so that's starting to happen. Those fish are going to move towards the inlet coming up, and September is always a great month for that. So be prepared. Anyway, that's about it for this week, Matt. Talk to you next week.
With our fly and freshwater report, we have Paul McCain from River Bay Outfitters.
Hello, Matt. Well, I've been trying to get as much fishing in as possible. Last week I was doing smallmouth. This week I decided, I have my boat and I haven't used it that much, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to spend a few days out here. My friend Kenny and I went out on Monday, but we got a real late start. Not his fault, my fault for sure, and we missed the tide. Today I said I'm going to get up, and I called my friend Dennis, and he says, be out there. In an incoming tide is best. Fish over this area, and he was right. I mean, I had bluefish, many hits, lost quite a few, and actually it was I landed a few that were really nice. I lost a real big one that bit right through the wire. So hey, that's what's fishing. As far as I plan on doing a little bit of trout fishing on a tailwater. You got to be careful. The waters are still too high, too low, but tailwaters are holding up. You got the Delaware and you got the Farmington. So you have a few options to get out there. You have the Croton system, but fish it during the day before it gets too warm. I'll be up fishing and with a bunch of friends from the shop next week. So hopefully I'll have a report from the Farmington. The Connect Quad is doing well. We're in the summer doldrums as far as saltwater and most fishing. The ponds are a little weedy. It is what it is. Get out. You can always find fish. You just have to change it up. Until next week, tie lines.
Thanks, Matt. We have a cobia craze going on. There's cobia fever from Long Beach to Rockaway. Most boats out there are going for cobia. Check in with Wet Bandito, the self-proclaimed king of cobia. Hard to argue with the numbers he's pulling in and the size. We've been rolling up to bunker schools, working them for 5 to 10 minutes with 9/0 circle hooks, free lining with 30 to 40 pound leader. If you don't catch any in 5 or 10 minutes, move on to the next bunker school. All right, Fizo crushed this slob. Karen Ann Charters has been going out for cobia and slaying them. I went out with Bass Appeal. We did hook up on one, but mainly got sharked and bluefish, but had a great time out there. The only cobia I caught this week was at Wits End. The jerked cobia is incredible. There's still striped bass to be had in New York Harbor. The Fluke is actually on fire right now. Phil Salvo from Salvo's Jigs caught these, and a lot of charters are reporting epic Fluke bites. Polo Grounds, aka Polo Sportsman Official, got this bonita. They're out there along with Spanish mackerel. The yellowfin tuna bite is hot. Brooklyn Anglers Geronimo got this yellowfin tuna with John McMurray. The bluefin tuna bite so far is a bust, but hopefully it will pick up. Fingers crossed. All right, be safe out there. Tight lines. Thank you, and back to you, Matt.
Captain Mike Sentry has the latest from Staten Island.
Thanks, Tim and Matt. Hope all is well, guys. Well, guys, Mike Sentry here from Anglers of Legend Sport Fishing Boat Works. Well, New Jersey water's definitely on fire, and I mean by temperature-wise, not fishing-wise. You're looking at some really high temperature waters. Unfortunately, that killed pretty much the fluke bite. You are getting some fluke in the deeper waters. The porgies, a little sporadic here and there. I will say this, the shark, our waters are infested with sharks. You go out there with a live bunker or a live bluefish and it's getting whacked, by sharks. On the home front, for midshore grounds, it's hit and miss with bluefin and yellowfin. You got to find the clear blue water, and if you do, it's going to be a tough pick. The yellowfin bite, definitely south of the Cumbria, known for the Picardy area, has been producing. A couple of my buddies, Rosetto and Tyler, went out to Cape Cod on a charter, tightening up charters, and did a pretty good trip out there on Sunday, 4 to 7 on giant bluefin tuna, all caught and released, of course. And Buck, another friend of mine, went out on Charter Captain Margarita, and they did pretty good on the cobia grounds. Got a 55-pound cobia, so that was pretty exciting on live bunker. So, get out there. August is definitely almost over. Blink of an eye, it's gonna be snowing. So with that said, get out there, guys, make some memories, and hopefully this weekend I'll be able to get out. And back to you, Matt.
Lastly, we check in with Captain Ben Gilmour from Marina Pez Vela down in Costa Rica.
Hey there, guys, and welcome to the Marina Pez Vela here in Costa Rica. Right now, we got a great blue marlin bite going on. Just in the last week, there's been some incredible blue marlin fishing right here, about 30 to 40 miles offshore. Some of the boats getting into 2, 3, 4 marlin per day when they can find the fish. Just insane fishing. We've had a really good sailfish bite from time to time. Sometimes bites keep popping up, and the guys are getting on some good numbers of sailfish too. Yellowfin tuna bite has been wide open on some days, as well as mahi-mahi closer to shore, around about 10 to 15 miles out, and some really nice wahoo fishing over the offshore humps. Would love to see you guys down here very soon. Our peak season is November through April. Get booking those tickets, guys, and hope to see you in Costa Rica. Back over to you.
Remember to like our video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and tap on the bell to be notified instantly when we post a new video on YouTube. Check out this video's description on YouTube for all the related links and index for specific reports. Please support our correspondents by visiting their websites and social media pages. And please leave your comments and questions on our YouTube channel. See you right here next week at thefisherman.com.